At the moment, India has about 1 billion mobile phone subscribers. And even if you take a significant number of them to be a person having 2 or 3 mobile phone accounts, that still means the number of people who are using the mobile phone for a verbal transaction, if not a financial transaction, is substantially larger than the number of people who have bank accounts. Simultaneously, the National Payments Corporation, the NPCI, is putting across through the country a digital network which is enabling, or which will eventually, very soon, enable a lot of payments to be made on the digital platform. The Reserve Bank and the telecom regulator, both of whom are represented here, are also working to ensure that financial inclusion is one of the key goals that is achieved by both these regulatory bodies, and the roadblocks for them are removed with alacrity. So just about everyone here is working towards this digital revolution in India, which will enable much larger financial inclusion than has hitherto prevailed. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has also been working towards this end, and NASSCOM and the people they represent have been providing a zillion software and now apps to ensure greater financial inclusion. So, Mr. Gates, your vision of what you have seen so far in India, and since you've seen the payment bank and financial inclusion work elsewhere, what would be your initial thoughts on where India is and where it can go?
Well, if people heard of the Gates Foundation, they probably associate us with our health work, and that is by far our biggest set of programs globally and here in India. Not as many people know about our work in financial inclusion. So it was about 8 years ago that we started that group. Our early activities were around microfinance and really driving that, looking at certain type of savings and insurance constructs. And it was through that work that we came to believe that digital transactions would really be the key to inclusion. Because what we kept running into was that whenever you'd have a system where you had to have face-to-face activities, the regulatory cost of having that training and the IT system and the security simply meant that the transaction fee for somebody dealing with small amounts of money would just be too large. And so if it was a loan, the interest rate would be very large. And even in microfinance, where you get a lot of volunteer activity through the self-help groups, even there the interest rates are large enough that they didn't have as big an impact as everybody wanted to see. So that's why we're very involved in India, trying to help the government come up with policies that will drive this kind of breakthrough financial inclusion. We're very excited about the work that's going on. Aadhaar is a great foundational project. The government having aggressive goals for bank accounts is fantastic. The regulation around the payment banks, we think, is sort of the final piece that's come into place. And so our view is that next year, as these payment bank offerings roll out, that we're going to see something very exciting. We think that the payment banks, you should be able to do your direct benefit transfer into the payment bank. We think the users should be able to pick whether it's a mobile phone account or it's ATM where you use your Aadhaar identification or a plastic card. We're hopeful that the payments amounts are strong enough that these agent networks are in all the rural areas, and there the payments may need to be a little bit higher to get to that. But once the system gets to critical mass, it's pretty magical. We've seen in various countries in Africa where that's happened. Obviously, when it happens here in India, it will be far bigger. It'll move a lot faster. In fact, I think India will take the lead in this as the payment bank concept really rolls out and the volume gets behind it. And then, once you have that enablement with the very low fee structure, we can move our focus from the digital rails into the question of, is it really benefiting the poorest? Are the right applications there? Are the fees right? Is the training right? Are there enough agents in the different areas where they are? Do they feel comfortable with the product? and that those services are where you ultimately can get huge benefits to the poorest.
Well, let me get the others in for a question, but really I have more questions to Mr. Sinha first. Mr. Mundra, although bank accounts have been opened, as I discovered when I was reading more about this, 43% of the accounts are still dormant. But all mobile phones are being used. Now, tomorrow, maybe in a month or two, or maybe in a quarter, the payment banks will start opening. Most of them are telcos, or many of the large ones are telcos. How difficult will it be for a telco holder, a telecom subscriber, to become a bank holder? Is it that the telecom company simply sends an SMS and says, do you want to open a bank account? And he says yes, and you will allow him? Will it be as easy as that? To open a bank account for a telecom company. I'm saying telecom simply because it's available. I believe 1 billion people have them.
Okay. I think you have managed to put in so many questions in one question.
No, my question is very simple. Will you allow... No, it's only one question.
No, let me...
Will you allow the telecom company to just send an SMS and open a bank account if the answer is yes?
Lata, if you allow me, I think whether we will allow or not is a very small issue in the whole gamut of things which we are discussing. I would really want to start with where you asked the first question. Now, 80%, 40%, let's understand one thing, and I think Honorable Minister would certainly speak on it. When this whole Jan Dhan started, 80% of the account were not operated. Today it has come down to 40%. We are talking on the, talking about in the terms of last 1 year. But the point which I would like to really emphasize here, number one, I would be quite wary about coining a new term, digital financial inclusion. Mm-hmm. My belief is financial inclusion is one, that is the goal. Digital is only a means. So let us not try to create new subcategory in that. Whenever we talk about financial inclusion, generally, we are talking about the opening of account, direct benefit transfer, and then we move to the pension, insurance, investment. Now, one thing, DBT to my mind is not an additional cash flow to the person. DBT, he was getting that advantage one way or other. Only what is achieved by DBT, transmission is more efficient, probably there is less transmission loss, and maybe some of the people who were getting deprived are now getting their rightful thing. So, my point is, I call it as a missing middle. I mean to say, you have account, you have DBT which makes the account little bit operational. But when you do the pension, investment, insurance, when you have the surplus. And that missing middle is, you talk about the productive credit. How the productive credit can be given using the digital channel efficiently. Yes. And I don't want to keep on giving the discourse, it can get too long. But to my mind, whatever digital strategy you are talking about in context of financial inclusion, and as with many other things in our country, there has to be two clear and different strategies. One for Bharat and one for India. And to give you a sense, when I talk about Bharat, we have 85% of the farmers who are small and marginal farmers, who have a land holding of less than 1.15 hectare. 11 crore people are employed in MSME sector. 94.94% of them are microcredit. And 92% of them don't get any institutional credit. So I would say any digital strategy apart from the payment and the opening the account, but which can address the issue of providing productive credit so that people generate surplus. When they generate surplus, then they do the saving, they do the investment, they do the insurance, they do the pension, everything.
No, I agree.
So coming to your,
with deposit, you are answering, you are raising a question on credit.
Coming to your question, which you were keen to get a reply, which I didn't find very important in the context. But nonetheless, see, as far as the payment banks are concerned and the, as they concern and the telco clients are there, and I think Mr. Sharma will more supplement. Today we have one situation. We have 900 million Aadhaar card. We have 900 million mobile subscribers. And Aadhaar platform now provides the facility of eKYC.
Yes.
It means for anyone who is a telecom subscriber and now who becomes a client of payment bank, there is an automatic process whereby the KYC is available. So it will not be a challenge.
No, it will be. I can tell you my maid has a mobile phone. She does not have an Aadhaar card. She probably has an Aadhaar. She's not capable of eKYC. So the point is, if she is told that her phone can become a bank account, it will be easier for her to answer yes than to provide an eKYC. It's digitally more challenging for her, is my point.
Phone cannot become a bank account. What I'm trying to say, if she has an Aadhaar and if she is a subscriber today to a mobile,
Yes.
company which is becoming a payment bank tomorrow, then there is a link available for her to carry the eKYC and become a properly introduced, acceptable bank account holder. That's what I'm trying to say.
My sense is it will be a challenge for her. It will be easier for her if she is not told to provide the Aadhaar identity, because I doubt she has it and I doubt she'll be able to provide it electronically. Maybe she will. One minute, sir. Before that, I want to ask Mr. Sinha, the various benefits that the government is providing, and she is a ration card holder. Her name has been taken in her village. And very correctly, the government has decided to give the money, the food subsidy in cash to the woman of the house. Her name has been taken, but that pilot scheme has not gotten off. Will you be willing to give the government's payments, either the Atal Bima or the food subsidy, through any means, either post office or payment bank, if the subscriber so chooses? If the citizen wants it through the payment bank, through the mobile phone, or if she wants it through the post office, will you be channel neutral?
Quick answer, yes. That's how the architecture is designed. It's intended to be channel neutral. It's intended to foster competition. It's an open architecture. Friends in Bangalore use the term India stack. And so what we're trying to do is to create a loosely coupled stack that will enable interoperability across the different layers of the stack. So ultimately what you have is an open architecture which is driven by consumer choice. So the answer is yes.
Okay. But, as soon as the payment bank accounts are open, you can look at that as
you can have an account anywhere. You can have it in the post office as a payment bank. You can have it in a traditional bank. You can have it with a microfinance institution. Because of digitization, all these accounts will be seamlessly accessible through the National Payments Clearinghouse. And because of Aadhaar, you know when it's withdrawn, or you can authenticate who that individual is who's withdrawing it. They can then choose to withdraw from any of these different outlets, whether it's a payment bank, a traditional bank, or any other outlet for that matter, if they want to do it cashless. What we've done in terms of designing the fee structure is to make it channel neutral. So that depending on where you do the ultimate transaction, the cash out, or for example, the cashless transaction, wherever that ultimate end user transaction happens, that's the point at which the commission is paid out. And we spent months thinking through the architecture so it's sufficiently channel neutral and there are right incentives for competition and for consumer choice.
Okay. Well, I'm still wondering whether at the level of my maid and at the level of my driver, there is any place where he can exercise his choice.
As I said, it can be, if your payment bank is, for example, with somebody who is linked with a mobile operator, the mobile operator has a neighborhood store, the Pan Ki Dukaan, the Kirana store, whatever, where you buy your scratch-off prepaid cards. That's where you can do a cash out right now from the cash drawer. Alternatively, if you're doing it through the post office as a payment bank, instead of going to the Pan Ki Dukaan or the Kirana store, they go to the post office and they do a cash out from an ATM there. If they have a bank branch that is close by, then if their account is with the bank and they've said, this is the account I want to use for payments, and it is a traditional bank, public sector bank's account, then they can withdraw it from there. They decide, do they want the mobile operator payment bank, the post office is the payment bank, the traditional bank account from where they'll do the cash out. They can make that decision, and the payments and the data flow and everything else is neutral to whatever choices they make.
Okay.